Coping with COVID. Updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC. Healthy people, healthy communities. In it together and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. And Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID, brought to you by SCDHEC. In it together, the Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Happy Thursday, and thank you so much for joining us for Coping with Tre Tailor. Today, activist and author Kiwan Fitch joins us to discuss her book, Birthing Purpose. Hey, Kiwan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Tre. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Got my book ready to talk about it, girl.
Awesome.
Then Sam Johnson will tell us why downtown Columbia will no longer be the place for New Year's Eve. Sam, thank you for joining us. The end of famously hot New Year. That and more next on Coping with Tre Tailor. But first, your COVID community updates. Congratulations to Michelle Childs. The South Carolina judge recently considered for the U.S. Supreme Court was voted 17-5 for the U.S. Court of Appeals for Washington, D.C. It now goes to the full Senate for a vote. Saying he's heard from several parents, Governor McMaster is launching a probe into the Richland School District 2 school board. Under a bill proposed, the state inspector general will initiate, supervise, and coordinate any investigation. The governor currently has the power to remove school board members. And the Guinness World Record confirms the oldest living dog resides in South Carolina. A 22-year-old fox terrier named Pebbles lives in Taylor's. They say he enjoys reading pizza and cat food. A dog that eats cat food. Maybe that's the secret to living long life, being a dog. You are watching Coping with Tre Tailor. Hey, visit SCDHEC for the most up-to-date list of times, dates, and locations for COVID testing, vaccinations, and also more from scdheck.gov. Now, all of this information will be scrolling at the bottom of the screen throughout the show. You can find out information on where to order your 5 free rapid COVID tests by logging on to covidtest.gov. COVID vaccines for veterans, which are being held at the VA. Also, you see the various retailers throughout South Carolina and throughout the world, as a matter of fact, that you can get COVID vaccinations, including Kroger pharmacies, CVS, and Walgreens. Walgreens also has N95 masks that are giving out for free. And again, this is COVID testing and also COVID vaccinations. Also, the Comet bus system is not only offering COVID testing and vaccinations at their main location in Columbia, South Carolina, at Sumter and Laurel Streets, they are also providing free rides to get your vaccine. Online registration help is available to get set up. That information will be scrolling at the bottom of the screen also. FEMA has COVID funeral reimbursement. They're still doing that. Other financial resources will also be scrolling at the bottom of the screen, including the SC Bar Association and SC Legal Services toll-free number and website for rental and mortgage help, Lexington County Bill Assistance Program, SC Housing and Dominion Energy. And also, if you or someone you know is having a challenge coping with COVID, they can contact SC Hopes. It's a 24-hour assistance line from the South Carolina Department of Mental Health. Now, also, several job openings. Spectrum and the City of Columbia both have several job openings. As you can see there, City of Columbia has open house interviews every Wednesday from 8 until 11 a.m. at their office at 2198 Colonial Drive. All of that information, like I said, and so much more will be scrolling at the bottom of the screen throughout the show. You're watching Coping with Tre Tailor. I'm Tre Tailor. We are streaming live on the Tailor Made Production page on Facebook. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow. Not only will you get notifications as to when we go live Wednesday with Wellness Wednesday from In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council, but also on Thursday and Friday for Coping with Tre Tailor. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Check out the YouTube channel for past shows, 2 years worth of information, resources, and content. We also have a presence on Instagram and also on Twitter. Coming up, we're going to talk with Kiwan Fitch. She is an activist and author of the book, The Birthing Process, The Birthing Purpose. We'll come right back with her in just a minute on Coping with Tre Tailor. We'll be right back.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday life. But when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Hello, I'm Carolyn Sawyer, an entrepreneur and caregiver. Part of taking care of your health is knowing if you're at risk of type 2 diabetes. Prediabetes is serious and puts you at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. Up to 90% of South Carolinians who have it don't know they have it. Visit inittogethersc.org. Take an online test to find out your risk and join a diabetes prevention program. This message brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of SC.
Good Thursday afternoon. I'm Tre Tailor, and you are watching Coping with Tre Tailor. Coming up, we're going to talk with Sam Johnson. He is one of the organizers of famously hot New Year's Eve in Columbia, South Carolina. You may have heard that they are ditching that celebration. We're going to join him in just a minute and find out why. Oh, why? But right now, we're going to talk about the birthing purpose. Kiwan Fitch is an activist for the community, advocate for women and children, and founder of nonprofits Girls Empowerment Network, Empower Connection, and she's the CEO of Journey Towards Purpose Global Institute. The author's new book, unlike her previous publications, Birthing Purpose, is about what it took to become Coach K. Kiwan, the artist formerly known as Kiwan Fitch.
That's funny.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
I appreciate you, Tre. I really, really do. You know I love you, girl.
And love you so much. And just love all of the work that you are doing and have been doing in the community. The interesting thing is, I just heard my pastor talk about this. It was the service from Sunday that I'm just now catching up to, that everybody has a process that they go through. And it's easy for people to see what you are today and all of the amazing things you've done and do, and not realize that that was a journey.
Absolutely. It has been a journey. It is a journey.
Yeah.
And it actually, even for me in the process of it, it wasn't until working on this book that I realized some things about myself.
Really?
And those very significant things that played a part in me becoming who I am today.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, it was really, therapeutic and all of the kind of, I've been on a journey of personal development for the last couple of years. So this process of getting it out, it really was for me. I just got to share it with everybody else. I didn't realize how, I was telling someone, I started elementary school in kindergarten at 5 years old at a Catholic all-girl Catholic school. And I went to Catholic school all the way through high school. And it's funny, I didn't realize how much the Sisters of Charity, for those first 12 years of my education, were such a big part of that.
Wow.
And by being nurtured by Sisters of Charity, and then, the Southern Baptist Church and all of that, how much God had become such a big part of my life. All the way through from such an early age. My mom teases me, when I started talking about Jesus, and I just talked about Jesus so much. And, and I've gotten used to hearing her say it. But I didn't know. I didn't, until you take the time to really, to look back and really
Yeah.
look at the different steps of the journey, you just don't realize how much has gone into you becoming who you are.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I was going to ask you, how was it going back, revisiting the pain and the progress? You said that there were things that you learned about yourself that you didn't even recognize. Tell us about a couple of those things, Kawan.
Well, you know what? It's one of those things where you said okay, I'm an educated woman now, but I kind of took a real strange route to kind of get here.
Mm-hmm.
College prep, high school, all of this quality paid for education all of these years, but I left high school to do cosmetology. Okay. So what I found in my retrospect is in the beginning of my 10th grade year, I found out that my father was dying. Hearing in the 80s that your father has AIDS was something that devastated me. There was just so much misinformation, no information.
Yeah.
And long story short, I literally just basically went through high school in a bubble. It's a blur to me. So many things that should have been, top of frame of mind and consciousness of a person who was actually going to go on to higher education. I wasn't doing anything, and I couldn't understand how. I was just like, saying to my friends, I said, you went to college, you went to visit a school. I was like, where was I? Like I totally blanked out. But I was existing. I was there. I was going through the motions, but emotionally, I was totally vacant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And understanding now what that led to, what doors opened for that. My dad actually passed away 25 days before my graduation.
Sorry.
So for him to pass, May 7th, I walk across this stage June 1st, and it's like, okay, so what do I do now? So that also became the catalyst of, well, you told him that you would still go to college. You told him that you would, I still had some things that I needed to do, but that was also the beginning of me waking up.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what, Kawan, listen, and I know you are past all of that, but I just want to say to you, I'm listening to you, and I'm hearing my life, to be honest with you. I admire people. Let me tell you, I told Steve Benjamin this a couple of months ago, that I admire people that have it all figured out, that went to high school with again, as you say, they're going to the schools, they had the path, and everything is calculated towards their next. That wasn't me either. And I'm like you, like, where was my head? Where was I? And like you said, not for people not pushing me and motivating me. I think you get it when you get it, girl.
Absolutely. And going through the process now with my boys are both graduating high school.
Right.
And being in this process with them of, well, they're athletes. So, spending the whole summer before senior year going to camps and all the coaches. And I didn't know that Twitter was a huge part of college sports. Yeah. So, just learning all of those things and being so involved with what is this next part of their process.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of COVID, having to do, virtual things and Zooms and all of that type of stuff with schools and what have you. It has certainly been enlightening. Excuse me. I had no idea that all of the things I missed out on. But that was my journey. And had I not, the cosmetology, it was an easy way out. It was certainly not something that I chose because I just love to do hair. I was not the girl in the neighborhood braiding everybody's hair or anything like that. It was an easy way out. It was, I just grasped something because I got to do something, right? And when I did that, I remember working in a salon and wanting to put up a bulletin board of jobs and all kinds of resource information. Wow. And so, because I was not into the fashion shows and, hair and all of the fancy stuff of that whole industry, was not of my, I was interested in getting to know the people who sat in my chair and how can I help you do
The
better,
advocacy,
and all
right.
of this, I was doing social services by
Yes,
way of hair.
right. And listen, girl, that's a good place to do it. I
It
mean,
was a great start.
yeah, because you've got all kind of women coming in. I mean, we hear a lot about that. Barbershops and beauty salons, nail salons.
Absolutely.
You've got that one-on-one time and people are figuring out the problems of the world.
No doubt, no doubt. But I mean, I understand how much of a part of my journey it was. It was a great way for me to get away because I didn't go to the school down the street. And that's what the conversation I had with one of my high school girlfriends about a couple months ago. It was like, well, what did you think when I said I was going to do that? And, because I mean, like, she's like Dr. Kathy now. And I'm like, what did you think when I said that? She said, I just couldn't understand why you were going all the way to North Carolina to Dudley's when there was a school right in Jersey City. Like, I could, that part just didn't make sense to me. I said, me neither.
We're talking to Kiwan Fitch. She is the author of Birthing Purpose, Becoming Coach K. So why did you know after writing so many other books, Kiwan, that it was time for you to write this book?
Girl, when I was working on Our Journey Towards Purpose, that anthology, I think there's like 20 of us in that book. When I was working on that, I went to do it was one of the books. I went to do a post about it, and I couldn't remember how many women had been in my books because all of my books had, up until that point, either I was an anthology that I did or that I was a part of. And I think I only been a part of one or two. So I grabbed books and literally was on the back covers counting people because I had never done this. When I got to 60, Trey, I was like, holy crap.
Wow.
I've helped over 60 women become authors.
Yeah.
And it hit me like a ton of bricks. It was that realization of that. And then I did a anthology with a young lady out of the Maryland, DC area about nonprofits. It's called Nonprofit Legacy. And one of the things that she did was we would have these Zoom meetings with all the women in the book. And we would share our story and what have you, basically what we were going to be writing about. And everyone would give us feedback, which I thought was just this great process of getting to know the other women in the book without having to wait for the book to come out. And so when I told my story, the feedback was they were so fascinated that someone in nonprofits had such the Catholic school background.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, really? But they really, that drew them in. And so it was like, Kiwan, you need to tell your story.
Yeah.
You've got pieces of your story in all of your books. Welfare Mom talks about being told no at welfare.
Right.
Domestic violence talks about the abuse with my ex-husband. Journey Towards Purpose talks about kind of overcoming and coming into the nonprofit industry and so on, right? And operating in purpose. All of these different pieces, but I had not threaded them all together and wrote a project that was just about my journey.
Yeah.
And I felt like the year of 50 was the time. I just turned 50 April 4th.
Congratulations.
So when I started this process last year, it was the goal was that it was going to be published for my 50th birthday. This is also the year that, my boys are of legal age. The boys are 18 and 19 now. My eldest is turning 30 this year. So there was just so many milestones in 2022 that I just said, now is the time. And if you remember the dedication, I dedicated it to myself.
Yeah.
I dedicated it to Clarence's daughter.
Yeah.
And that was also another aha. The influence of my father on me all the way through. When you say activist, Kiwan, I hear Clarence's daughter.
Yeah. You mentioned your dad, and wrapping up, I want to ask about your dad. Listen, we hear a lot now about girl dads, and then on the flip side, we hear that women don't have relationship with their dads. The absent father. And but your
Mm.
father was very instrumental
He
reading the
was
book.
instrumental so much, even in his absence.
Yeah,
From the beginning of my life, my dad was drug addicted and not the most reliable.
right.
But in the same token, he was such a huge personality and such a huge force that even in that, he was still just he was my guy.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
about my dad, I never called him dad. I never called him daddy, a father. I called him Clarence. I don't
Hmm.
know where it came from, where it started, but that's the only name I ever called him that I know of. Um, I was introduced to activism through him and his wife.
Right.
My stepmom, who I hope to get to see this weekend, is it was the beginning of my journey. He was influential in what he became when he came out of his fog.
Right. Right.
Was who I become, in walking in his footsteps. There's a documentary that's been done about him, and I'm sure you can find it. It's called Another Brother,
Mm,
and it's the story of a Vietnam vet, and it's powerful because it just he was just as just another brother who went to Vietnam out of high
right.
school, went to the military out of high school, came home, had a kid, emotionally vacant. And when he finally started to get himself together, after years of heroin use, he finds out he's got AIDS.
Yeah.
So his story impacts me greatly, but also it's a part of those hurdles that I've had to jump, and I get to turn around and share with women that you can, no matter where you come from, no matter
Yeah.
he was a girl dad.
Yeah.
I mean, he taught me how to drive. I was riding my bike across the Brooklyn Bridge with him. There were so many major things that that have happened in my life in those first 18 years because of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a bittersweet thing, but I am Clarence's daughter, so it's okay. He had such a big personality that he was able to leave me with much.
Kiwan Fitch joins us. She is the author of Birthing Purpose, Becoming Coach K. One thing that you would like people to take away from this book, Kiwan, as we leave, and I know
Becoming
there are many.
I know, right? Becoming who you are is imperative to your journey. Please, ladies and gentlemen, take the time to discover who you are, so that we can make some great decisions about how we move forward. We don't do things without intention, and
Yeah.
so that's really really important to me. But I'm a coach, so if you need help to do that, please reach out. Find me on any social media. Connect with me. I'd be happy to tell you about my resources and services. But also pick up the book. I
Yeah.
haven't been promoting the book, like, because it's such a personal project. I forget that until I get one of those notifications like, oh, you got some money. I'm like, oh, baby, people are buying it.
Yes.
So, but Billy, pick up the book. I promise you, it'll help explain a whole lot about who I am, but also it'll help you along your journey as well.
Exactly. And I'm glad you said that because it will. There are so many parallels that you have to, I'm sure, many people. And that's the thing, Kawan, I think we're the only one that did dot, dot, dot. And that makes us feel alone and isolated and not able to move forward because we think something's wrong with us. But this is
Absolutely.
such a beautiful, transparent book that says, it happened to me, the worst of the worst, the craziest of the craziest. And look where I am now. Look,
Amen.
you
Amen.
know,
I,
so
I appreciate you so much, Trey. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for the opportunity. Get the book, connect with me. But the boys are graduating, but the secret is I'm also graduating. I'm
right. I
Yeah,
love
so
that too.
I'm excited. Lots of amazing things are happening, and I can't wait to share even more.
Well, that is exciting. You can see Kiwan's information on the screen. Pick up the book, like she said, give her a call, email her, go on her social media and connect with her. The point of becoming who God plans for you to be, who you are supposed to be, and that can happen at any time. That can happen from
Absolutely.
5 to 85 and beyond.
Amen.
The
Amen.
point is sometimes you need somebody to help you through. So Kiwan would
Absolutely.
be a great person to do that. Again, her information is on the screen. Kiwan, thank you for taking time. I know you're busy helping the world, so thank you for taking time.
I love you, Trey. Anything for you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. Kiwan Fitch, activist for the community, advocate for women and children, and founder of several nonprofits. This is her new book, and she is available for your resources. So please give her a call. Coming up next, famously hot New Year is no more. Sam Johnson joins us to tell us exactly why. That's next on Coping with Tre Tailor. I'm Tre Tailor.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean, and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there, and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comedy is our livelihood.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Aiken-Cochran. As Miss America, I know that taking care of yourself is important. Part of taking care of your health is knowing if you're at risk of type 2 diabetes. Prediabetes is serious and puts you at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. Visit inittogethersc.org. Take an online test to find out your risk and join a diabetes prevention program.
Thank you so much for joining us for Coping with Tre Tailor. I'm Tre Tailor. We're streaming live on the Tailor Made Production page on Facebook. That's the home of Coping with COVID and Coping with Tre Tailor. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow. Get notifications as to when we go live Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday from In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council. And then on Thursday and Friday for Coping with Tre Tailor. We also are streaming live on our YouTube channel. Please go over there and hit the subscribe button and check out all of the great resources and content there. We've been doing the show for 2 years. So much great stuff on that YouTube channel. Also, we have a presence on Instagram and also on Twitter. Well, if you live in Columbia, South Carolina, you heard the sad news. Famously hot New Year is no more. Organizers of the 10-plus year festival that brought such names as En Vogue, George Clinton, the OJs, and more to the capital city have decided to end the celebration. Sam Johnson joins us to tell us why, Sam? Why? Oh, why? What happened? Why did you guys, first of all, welcome to the show before I get into it.
Thanks, Trey. First of all, great to be on. Great to see you again.
Thank you.
This virtually, of course, always great seeing you out and about in Columbia as well.
So tell us why the decisions was made to end Famously Hot New Year.
Well, I think to understand the decision that was made, I think it's important to understand how it started. Okay. Trey, as you know, I served as Mayor Benjamin's chief of staff for years for Columbia, and one of the things that Mayor Benjamin was very passionate about, and that he talked a lot about, was you make a judgment call on a city based on its Main Street, and those of us who've grown up in Columbia, those of us who know Columbia very well, remember that the Columbia Main Street that we see right now was not always the case, right?
Right.
There were times where at 5 o'clock, it was a ghost town, right? Throughout the week, certainly there was no activity on the weekend. The Soda City Farmers Market wasn't a main staple of folks' weekends until we were able to kind of create that vibrancy and energy. And part of doing that was the vision behind the Famously Hot New Year celebration. And so that vision that we had to create it and create that another event that happened on Main Street was Mayor Benjamin's key effort and something that we wanted to make happen, that we fundraised for. It was a public-private project that we made happen. And so, of course, as you know, Trey, we have a new mayor. We had an
new
election
mayor.
last year.
Yeah. You know, as you're saying it, I'm like, ding, 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 the light went off. Yeah.
Oh, say it again, Trey. I'm losing you a little bit.
Okay, I said, as you were saying that, ding, 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 the light went off. New administration.
Yeah, we got a new administration. Of course, I myself participated in the democratic process last year. And of course, Mayor Rickman is now mayor of Columbia. And so, certainly, we've met with him and decided, he decided that he wants to provide a new opportunity for folks to, enjoy themselves and have a new vision, a new direction. And certainly that's his prerogative. That's the prerogative of the mayor to really set the vision for Columbia. And so I'm excited to see what he's going to do with his plans entail. Certainly sad to see almost a baby of mine, as you know, I have a beautiful 2-year-old.
Yes, it was your baby, yeah.
But Famously Hot New Year, it was actually, something that I was extremely passionate about. So I hate to see it leave. But certainly I feel like we, were able to put together a very professional, a very clean event that hosted 40,000 people plus on an annual basis. We had folks like Lauryn Hill, George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic, amazing acts that allowed people from all across the state, all across the country to come to Columbia.
Sam Johnson joins us. He was one of the main organizers of Famously Hot New Year's. He's joining us today to tell us about the decision to end it. You mentioned that Mayor Rickman may have some other plans for New Year's. Has he mentioned that to you? And would you like to be involved?
Sure. So he's mentioned that there may be some alternative plans. I don't know the nature of those, and certainly as I told him when after the election, any way that I can be involved in helping Columbia to be successful, I'm certainly happy to play that role and remain passionate about the city that I'm raising my child in and that my family calls home.
Yeah. So are you doing anything with Mayor Rickman post election?
Sure. We've chatted a good bit over the last few weeks and months over ideas and providing counsel on just quite frankly the direction of Columbia, some of the important economic development matters that we've got to address here in Columbia. So certainly have been happy to play a sounding board to Mayor Rickman, and certainly as his administration takes off, recognizing that we are about 4.5 months in, certainly will continue to play a role and provide a voice for him and for Columbia.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody for watching Coping with Trey. I want to say hi to Deanna Bookard, also Danielle Lake. Thank you, Danielle. Danielle they were asking the name of Kiwan's book from the last segment. Thank you, ladies, so much for watching. Please post and share so we can get the message to the masses. Sam Johnson joins us. We're talking about Famously Hot New Year. Sam, before I ask you kind of what you're doing now since the election, I want to go back to Famously Hot New Year. Is it because you know the inner workings of the city? Could someone else, theoretically, another group, come in and do another type of festival like that? Would they need the support of the city? And do you think they get it?
I think, and just to be clear, are you do another New Year event, or just do any kind?
Another New Year's Eve festival of type sort.
Yeah, I think I think it depends on exactly what the event looks like. As you know, Trey, the event was free every year when we did it, and certainly I think it's hard to do a free event without some type of public support.
Absolutely.
And so we were blessed to have support from the city and from the county. We also got support from the state. So Parks, Rec, and Tourism, Department of Parks, Rec, and Tourism supported the event as well. And more than half of our budget came from folks from our corporate citizens like Blue Cross Blue Shield and Aflac. So I think it's possible to have an event that is supported privately. I think if you're going to have a free event, you probably need some type of public support as well. And I think what I would do and what I would encourage is I think that we need more citizens engaged in the process, right? So we need more citizens engaged in making sure that we have a vibrant Columbia. And so I don't think you have to work in the mayor's office, for example, or be mayor to plan an event. I think anybody who has a desire, has a vision for a celebration or a festival here in Columbia can definitely do that. And certainly, I think we need more citizens engaged throughout the different phases of Columbia.
Yeah. How do you suggest that people do that? Because it's got to be more than just attending online now a city council meeting. How do you think people should engage?
Sure. Well, I think first part of it is, really spending the time with your elected officials. So, get to know your city council member. And what I think a lot of times people don't realize is you have 3 city council members who serve you. You have 2 at-large members of city council, actually 4. You have 2 at-large members of city council who serve everybody in Columbia.
That's right.
You've got a district representative who serves you here in Columbia. And then you got the mayor. I think it's important to get to know all 4 of those city individuals who work for you. Not to mention that you also have county council officials who represent you as well. Find out what they are passionate about, what they're doing for you. I think one of the things I think we don't do here in Columbia enough is know what the agenda is. And I think we've got to do a better job of knowing, how are different issues being tackled? What's the plan for growth here? How are we going to make sure that we're moving forward in the areas that we need to? And I think, you can do that by having a face-to-face with your elected official. I certainly encourage everyone to have to come to a city council meeting or a county council meeting if you've never done that. But then also look at the agendas, see what ordinances and resolutions are being passed. If there's a particular topic, and you can just treat it like Google. I'll tell you, I just out of abundance of clarity, there was a particular topic that I'm passionate about that I was looking at last night, and I went to the city's website, went to ordinances, and just typed in that particular topic area to see what has been passed recently on that particular topic.
Right.
And so I think we all have to do a better job of knowing what's going on, but then holding people's feet to the fire.
Yeah. And like you said, that comes by actively engaging in the process, knowing who represents you. And again, picking up the phone, giving them a call, emailing, just being part of the process. And you're right. I definitely think it's everybody's responsibility. I think it's one thing to complain about it. It's another thing to do something about it,
100%.
Yeah. Sam Johnson joins us. We've been talking about the end of Famously Hot New Year's Eve. And as Sam just mentioned, you were part of the process of becoming Columbia's new mayor. What are you doing, Sam, now post-mayoral election?
Well, Trey, as you know, I've got 2 bosses at home. I've got a 2-year-old who, and I say 2-year-old, she will be 2 in 3 days. And so certainly I'm enjoying, as you know, the process of running for mayor, or even, for those who are elected officials, it requires a lot of time. And so a lot of time away from your family. So I'm definitely thankful for the opportunity to spend more time with my wife and daughter, but then also working. And so been busy back at work, been focused on those things. I've got several community projects that I'm very passionate about. One of the things that I really want to see us do is focus on our Black business community here. I think there's some need for us to really spend some time and attention on growing and developing our Black business community here in Columbia in a major way. So I've got an effort and an initiative that I think will help with that we'll be announcing here in the next month or 2. That I think will definitely add some ability for us to see some more cohesion in our Black business community. And so Trey, I'm doing the same thing I've been doing,
right?
Working, caring about my community, and now raising my baby.
Maybe planning another baby on the way soon.
Say it again.
Planning another baby on the way soon. She needs a brother or sister.
Trey, I'm losing you here. I'm going through a tunnel.
Of course you are. Sam Johnson, thank you. You hear this. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you really so much for coming on.
Trey, thank you for having me. And thank you for, I will say, I'll be remiss if I didn't say that my heart goes out to all of the families in Texas who lost loved ones. I will tell you that has been heavy on my heart as someone who is a girl dad. And then Trey, also thank you to you for hosting the show. I know it's not my first time on here. Yeah. I know the passion that you've had behind this and the impetus for this show too. Yeah. So thank you for all that you've done with this effort.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. And yes, our hearts and prayers go out to everyone who's been affected by the tragedy, and prayers for some resolve to come.
And Trey, I'll be remiss if I didn't say, I encourage everyone to see what from your school board to your city council, to your county council, to your members of the General Assembly, to your state, to your U.S. House and Senate members. Find out where they are on gun rights, gun violence, what they're doing, what their plans are, what their voting history is. And I think that's one of the things that we have to do here that's been highlighted by this week's actions.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam Johnson, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope with COVID, please email booking@copingwithtreitailor.com. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope with COVID, please email copingwithtreitailor@gmail.com. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor, just like In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council. They sponsor Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. Also, sponsors include Palmetto Media Connections, the Comet Bus System, Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, and Agape Counseling and Training Services. Tomorrow, we're going to wrap up our observance of Teacher Appreciation Month by talking to counselors from the Lonnie B. Nelson Elementary School. Frederica Brown is a South Carolina Frederica Brown is a counselor and South Carolina Teacher of the Year, Dr. Lasagna Stewart Hayes. They both join us tomorrow on Coping with Tre Tailor. Next week, we continue our series on gardening in your home gardening. We're going to talk with some folks that are going to help us through that process next Wednesday on Wellness Wednesday. We're doing it every first Wednesday through September. As always, I leave you with a devotional reading. And I've been reading from Conversations with God from Cheryl Williams with Agape Counseling and Training Services. And this says, look at the nations and watch and be utterly amazed, for I am doing something in your days that you would not believe even if you were told. That comes from Habakkuk 1:5 in the New King James Version. So much, as Sam said, is going on in our world. And we just need to, as the song says, lean on the everlasting arms. I'm Tre Tailor. Thank you all so much for joining us once again for Coping with Tre Tailor. Until the next time, I wish you peace, abundant blessings. Take care. God bless. And please don't forget to wear your mask over your nose and under your chin. We'll see you tomorrow.
Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping, finding out what's real. Coping, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress, coping with strife, bringing hope for success, for improving our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive. Ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting learning what you can do. 6 ways to a better you.